Hello, I'm Don Mitchell. Welcome back to Business Basics, in which we discover how you can be a great leader of an organization to make it at least 8,000 times more effective in serving either customers or beneficiaries, depending whether it's a for-profit or a nonprofit organization. Beginning in this lesson and continuing for 7 more, I'll be applying the 8-step process of the 2000% solution to the notion of expanding the market by at least 20 times. So for those of you who are big fans of the 2000% solution process, I'm sure this will be a fascinating set of materials for you. So let me begin, as we always do, here in lesson 16 by understanding the importance of measuring performance. I will quote first from the book of Mark, chapter 6, verses 49 through 51 in the New King James Version. And when they saw him walking on the sea, they supposed it was a ghost and cried out, for they all saw him and were troubled. But immediately he talked to them and said to them, Be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid. Then he went up unto the boat to them, and the wind ceased, and they were greatly amazed in themselves, beyond measure, and marveled. This lesson applies step 1 of the 8-step process for creating 2000% solutions, which is understand the importance of measuring performance. You'll find more about this subject in the 2000% solution, the portable 2000% solution, and the 2000% solution workbook. In the 2000% solution workbook, Carol Coles and I point out that most people focus their measurements on the ways they are performing now and serving customers. Unfortunately, such data are seldom of much value for expanding an industry by 20 times. I've been consulting with senior executives for over 40 years. I usually find that organizational leaders know little about the potential for expanding their industries. Why? The leaders weren't expected by anyone to look into such subjects, nor did they see the information as being important. Sometimes there's no official industry measurement source. In such cases, it's often possible to estimate industry size by interviewing or surveying a statistically significant sample of those who are current and potential customers, including those who serve their own needs now. I prefer to conduct such measurement research rather than rely on an official statistics because I can ask questions at the same time that help locate ways to expand the market. Before you look up the official statistics or conduct interviews, you need to think about what your industry is. Many people define their industry so they have little or no competition. If I were to take that approach with my consulting practice, I might measure those who work in or near the same town I do, provide exactly the same kind of strategic services. Under that definition, I have 100% of the market, and the market's growth limitations seem to be the same as my organization's limitations. Wrong, simply because we choose to see ourselves in terms of a small pond that we dominate. That perspective doesn't limit the industry or its potential. Another misconception is you only need to compare yourself to those who receive money from customers. If you do that, you'll miss measuring what people spend to do tasks or to create solutions for themselves, activities that serve purposes that your offerings could substitute for. Why is this broader definition important? If any time, money, or effort is being spent, that's part of what you have the opportunity to influence. Ignore such areas and you usually miss the bulk of the industry expansion potential. As an example, let's consider services related to improving the quality of offerings. Once very little time, money, and effort was spent in providing for improvement of the quality of what was produced. The bulk of quality-related spending was applied to inspections of completed items to identify faulty ones that needed to be either junked or repaired. Services were rarely checked for quality. Even more money was spent then on designing manufactured items than on quality improvement. Most people at the time didn't see design and quality performance as related, even though better designs are the best way to improve manufacturing quality. Few liked the inspection process, and many people could see that any alternative would be highly desirable if approved on such costly, cumbersome inspections, scrapping, and repairs. Little attention was paid to organizing services. One reason that performance quality was haphazard at best. Of even greater significance for understanding industry potential is to measure what it costs customers and users because they lack the right offerings. People are always surprised when Bill Crosby showed that production and service errors cost so much that it's much less expensive to spend time and effort to avoid committing errors in the first place. or as his title puts it, quality is free, McGraw-Hill, 1979. Many times customers and users don't realize how much of what they are spending could be avoided by employing some offering they don't use. When you measure what such unnecessary spending is, you'll have a better idea of the untapped industry potential. Let's consider poverty as an example of untapped potential that's often ignored. Governments, foundations, and donors regularly report they cannot afford to spend more on reducing poverty. In fact, some argue that less should be done. Those making such observations don't realize the cost of unrelieved poverty is far greater than the cost of reducing it. Just consider the tax consequences in constant dollars. If a potentially malnourished child receives enough of the right food and nutrition to fully develop his or her mind and body, the total added cost for the first 20 years of life may be about $6,000 in a lesser developed country. If as a result that person could then earn $6,000 more per year for 40 years and pay 10% of the amount in taxes, the government has the opportunity to gain at least $18,000, which would be $24,000 added tax receipts less $6,000 in cost. The gain will, in fact, usually be larger than $18,000 because the person will be able to support a family that won't need any government support for food or nutrition. Any such family members who later work will each produce $18,000 in added tax receipts by avoiding a malnourished childhood. Assuming the positive cycle continues, an expenditure of $6,000 can deliver hundreds of thousands of dollars in future government tax revenues over several generations. In addition, such higher income people will spend more with others who in turn will also pay higher taxes. The multiplier effect will increase the ultimate tax improvement by a factor of at least 3 times. It's hard to beat an investment opportunity like that. That's why successful economic development that expands poor people's incomes improves national wealth so rapidly. If you then spend another $6,000 to give a person a good enough education beyond what is conventionally supplied to become a successful entrepreneur who earns $20,000 more a year, you can increase the income tax paid less the cost of the added education by $74,000. In addition, the entrepreneur can probably provide the same education for his or her own children, so the higher income will also be earned in future generations. What's more, the entrepreneur can also then employ a number of people who can also emerge from needing food and education assistance, further adding to the tax rolls. If the government can learn how to provide such useful entrepreneurial education at a reasonable cost, the multi-generational gain in tax revenues is enormous. Once again, the resulting higher incomes create more spending with others who also pay taxes, probably creating a multiplier effect of 5 or 6 times. After seeing this quantification of potential value of poverty-reducing programs under developed countries, you may be wondering why so many people can be making such large mistakes about what to spend their organization's money on. I used to wonder too. When you find any large discrepancies, it's a good idea to dig in and look for the reasons behind such apparent irrationality. Start with Peter Drucker's observation. Leaders have no imagination. In my experience, even if you put the answers to a critical question under someone's nose, most people will miss the point. As I'm sure you appreciate from this lesson's examples, it's important to measure the behavior and performance of current and potential customers, as well as the offerings and approaches that are current or potential substitutes for what you currently or could offer. Here are 4 questions to help you apply the right focus to understand the importance of measuring performance to grow your industry by 20 times. First, what don't you know about the current and potential size of your industry? Chances are you're missing information about almost everything. Second, what do you think you know that may not be true? Particularly question assumptions and beliefs about what you compete against and in what ways. Third, what's the best way to check your beliefs and to fill any knowledge gaps? Be open to spending some time, money, and effort to check out what could be done. Assume you'll need more than one source to uncover what you need to learn. Fourth, how can you keep your expanded view of information about performance up to date? In most industries, circumstances are rapidly changing as markets become ever more global, competitive, and complex. You don't want to get up to speed once only to fall behind right away, do you? So your assignments are 4-fold. First, measure the size and performance of the global industry, beginning with all offerings, including self-performed tasks by customers and users, as well as costs that stakeholders could avoid by using potential offerings. Second, measure the untapped potential for immediate expansion of your industry. Third, identify the largest hurdles or stalls to making the expansion occur immediately. And fourth, measure the value of the benefits from overcoming the largest hurdles or stalls. So I hope this lesson excites you as much as it does me, and I hope it will inspire you to see some great new opportunities to expand your market by 20 times. Come back soon to learn more about the next 7 steps in the process. Goodbye for now. May God bless you, your family, and all you do in the name of Jesus in the meantime.